I'm going to do a little wet mold on a piece of leather today. Piece of scrap leather, like this right here, out of the scrap box. We've cut it out. Cut one piece out, we've got to cut another one. That's the pattern, just out of a piece of scrap paper. We're going to wet mold it, and give it some body that you can use it. And I'll take you down, put the pattern on there, and show you what I'm up to. Both of them trimmed up. And you'll see we're going to put them together. I'm going to try to make this little bag out of this. You can see how thick the leather is. I'm going to take this tool, clean the edges up just a little bit. Now we're going to get it wet around the edges a little bit. We might tool this a little bit. We'll get both of them wet there. I'm going to do a little bit of tooling on it. Just a little. But before we do that, we got to score the edge where we're going to sew it. This is where the stitching will be. That way we can keep the stitching nice and straight. And we're going to put one across here, like so. These two will go together. Like I say, we're going to do, I'm going to tool it a little bit. And give it some kind of a design there. Let's see what we can do. We'll get it wet. Both of them. Let's put a little tooling on it here. Kind of show you. There. And we're going to come across here. We're going to do two. And we'll do two on this side. And you can see in the middle, we're going to just put the one right there. Like so. We're going to do the other one. We're going to put the stitching in next. All right, stitching chisel. We want to line that up right with the edge. We want the one hanging over right there. And we scored it. We want to keep them as straight on the line as we can. We'll make sure it comes all the way through. There we have the first one, all the stitches. Now you'll notice on this one, we started on this side and went around. And on the second one, we have to start on this side. So the first one was here, second one will be here. because when you put them together, the stitching will match up. Got all the stitching holes in there, put them together. They should line up pretty good. We may have to trim it off a little bit, but anytime you tool it, it's going to make it bigger. Sewing thread. I'm going to put a little wax on it. I'm going to go with the beeswax. It already has wax on it, but I want to make sure. And we're going to burn the little bubble on the end of it here. Instead of tying a knot, put a little bubble on it. All right, we've got them all lined up here. I'm not going to tool it anymore. We could put a little arrowhead on there. There's all kinds. We could do all kinds of things to it, but we're just going to sew it now. Start right here on this side. It's lined up pretty good. We're going to go all the way around it and then come back around it again. You can see that the stitching chisel does a great job. And we don't need a stitching pony to sew this. Man, I see videos where people are making leathercraft videos using a stitching pony and get 500,000 views out of it. And I got one, but I hardly ever use it. So let's get this stitched up, and then I'll get back with you. And that's why I say you start your stitching on this side, come around, and on the second one you start on this side and come around. Then when you put the two together, all of the holes will match up on both sides. It's very important. And to kind of emphasize on how important it is for the holes to match up, this is a knife case that I made for my friend at Central Kentucky Bushcraft, David. And just to give you some idea of the stitching and how important it is that they all line up, that the top lines up with the bottom piece and the welt in the middle. So that's 3 layers. You see how thick it is. And you want it to look nice and clean. And this was actually wet molded so that his knife would fit in there. You can see, open that up, you can see that there's the knife goes in nice and easy. But I just thought I would kind of throw that in there, let you see how important that the stitching is there. All right, let's continue on right here. Got to see that the holes line up with each other. So far, so good. And you want to kind of stitch it a little bit tight there. Not too awful tight, but you know what I mean. All right, when you get to the top, you're done with this row of stitching, because we're going to go back. Got to go back and re-stitch all the way around. But at the top, we want to, it's where we're going to tie it off. We want to get that nice and straight right there. We're going to do that 3 or 4, 5 times. So we don't want it coming apart. We don't want the stitching to come apart. I'll tell you what, let's keep going here. You can see right there. Just keep going. One more time. So it's actually got 4 stitches up here at the top, because we want that's where this, it's going to be the weakest spot. So we want to make sure it gets tied off good. And we're going to come back, and we're going to sew all the way around it again. Because you skip one all the way around, and you skip one coming back this way. So it has to be sewed twice. Unless you're using a stitch and pony and you want to use 2 needles. You want to stitch it nice and tight. You can see how all the holes line up. Just makes it so much easier to stitch it when the holes match up there. Then we get up to this side, just like this first time. We want to really sew some, we want to put some stitches in it, because this is where we're going to tie it off. We put 4 in the last side, we'll put 4 in this one. You can see. Got one more to go here. Okay, and then we're going to drop down a stitch, pull it through. We're going to cut that off. I'm going to burn this little ball on the end of it there so it doesn't come back out. All right, so far, this is what we have. But this is, you can see how they all lined up. But now we're going to wet mold it. Now I need for this dowel rod to be able to fit in the top of that. You can see we're going to wet mold it here in a minute, but you can see it's a little big. So what I want to do is tighten that up a little bit. We're going to put a stitch on each side. And to get the put a stitch in each side, we need to put a little hole. We're going to use the awl. leather all. Came all the way through. And we're going to go on this side, poke it back through it a little bit like that, make the hole a little bigger. And we have this one marked right here. Came all the way through. Twist it a little bit, and then we're going to put it back in this hole, make it just a little bigger. You can see we're going to stitch this up just about four good times on each side, because that's where the stress, that'll be the weakest spot where all the stress will be on it. We're going to do 3. And it's kind of a tight fit there, so let's tighten that off. Burn that one off. There we go. Stitch this one up. I'm going to do one more. We did 3 on the one side. We're going to do 3 on this one. All right, that should give us a little bit of a tighter fit right there. Yeah, that's what we want right there. It's perfect. Perfect. Lining up. And if they don't match up on either side, it's not going to matter. This does matter. It's nice and straight, both of them. Okay, let's get on with the wet mold now. Okay, you can see how far we've come, but the next step is we want to get it wet inside and wet on the outside. So you've got to have it soaking wet. So we just keep going here with the water, inside and out. That's pretty wet right there. Soggy wet, what you want. All right, the regular plastic bag you get at Kroger's or your favorite shopping mall or whatever there. And like I say, you want to make sure it's good and wet. The whole entire everything inside. All right. Gonna wipe the water up. So there we go. It's nice and wet, and you can kind of shape it with your finger there if you want it. But, and again, to show you how thick that leather is, you're gonna take the bags, tie 2 of them together. We might have to tie 3. I don't know yet. We're gonna start that bag down in there. And we're gonna take like a paintbrush, and I actually got something a little better than that. Let me, oh, here it is. Right here is what I was looking for. This thing right here. We're gonna poke that bag, as much of it in there as we can get, and we'll probably get 2 of them in there. And just keep poking it in there, like that. I'd say we're gonna get probably 3 of them in there, but just wanna keep going. We want to work it on the sides too. Show you here in the sides there. Just keep going with it here. I think 2 will be sufficient. Move them around a little bit. You can see how the bag is swelled out. Just keep pushing that down in there. And there we have it. I'm going to put this plug back in there for right now. And we're going to let it dry. Kind of mold it to where you want it. We're going to let it dry and I'll show you what it looks like. All right. We had to wait on it to dry. It's taken a good you can see it's kind of wet molded there. And what we want to do, I had to put 3 plastic bags in here. So pull the first one out. Let's see if we can't fish the other ones out. You just pull them out. Right there we go. All them plastic bags. Real quick. There's one. There's 2 right here. They were all stuffed down inside of that. But that's our, it is a little warbly, but that won't make any difference. And kind of show you a little pouch. We went and carved this little mushroom. Got to have a plug. So right there we go. It's a little pouch for whatever you want to use it for. It has bulge a little bit on this side, but still not going to make any difference. Looks just as good right there. Very good. All right, just wanted to kind of show you the little pouch that I made there this morning or this afternoon. All right, I'll say God bless to you real quick. Always, God bless America. God bless you wherever you are, and we'll catch you in the next one.